Hello everyone, this is Foxcat, and welcome to another reaction. Which has been a while, but hey, it's been a while for reasons. No, I just didn't really feel too much of it, but I decided to go ahead and finally um do a reaction. And today we're going to be reacting to something that's very interesting. We're going to be reacting to the lore of Miitopia's Dark Lore. And what's interesting is the fact that I actually have Miitopia. Now, the reason why this game is so popular is because Miitopia recently, if you guys see my, remember, especially if you remember my live stream of Nintendo Direct, the recent, or at least the last one, you could, was it the last one, or, yeah, it was the last one, I'm trying to remember, but, the fact that they announced, and it is out. I haven't gotten the game because I don't feel like it, but I might will soon, but we'll see. I might even, if I do get it, I might even start doing a playthrough for you guys, but we'll just have to see if I even want it, but we'll figure that out anyways. But anyways, to make a long story short, I actually did play Miitopia. I still have the game, and I did beat it all the way. The thing is, though, that is now growing back in trend thanks to the Switch and all that. And believe it or not, I already know kind of the dark hidden truth about behind Dark Lord, which actually is kind of disturbing. And today we're going to react to a video that actually does a more better detail of explaining it. Of course, it's by a new channel that I recently subscribed to, Nico Lacey, and one of the reasons is because her or his, I think it's either, would say it's they, is either a guy or a gal. And you'll see why in a bit because their voice is very weird. But actually, for a person, especially their avatar, they're pretty hot. I am not going to try. I know that's a little bit embarrassing to say, but I'm still a single person. I could date whoever I want, or at least try to find love wherever I can. Just FYI. I mean, shoot, I guess. We all know this. I just did an episode yesterday of Poke Movie of frickin' LGBTQ plus thing. You know what I mean? Yesterday. So this ain't a big deal. And plus, also, admittedly, it is kind of an awesome avatar. I'm not joking. It's both hot and actually very cute and well done. Anyways, that's not the point. Let's just go ahead and dive into it. As usual, the video will be in the link down below. Let's see what this do. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Let's just hope there's no ad.
What does it
Sorry about that, reflexes of the ad, but nope, thank goodness.
What does it feel like to have your very face stolen off your head? Well, many believe that it's a warm, almost fuzzy feeling. It's said to be hard to breathe, and all you can do is watch in horror as your face is used to power up devious monsters. It's a fate that nobody should have to suffer. So who on earth would do such an awful thing, like steal faces and plant them on monsters? Well, the Dark Lord, of course. The Dark Lord is a very simple villain at surface level. His role is fitting and secure in the world of Miitopia,
That's
and most
true.
people wouldn't think there's much going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But, well, there is.
There is.
In fact, there's quite a lot going on behind the scenes with this villain. Miitopia has a surprising amount of lore to its world and characters. It may not be as much lore as you get from other games, but for a game about
it
thieves
really
rescuing
is
stolen
interesting.
faces, it's really quite impressive. So for all those out there who are curious to hear the lore of the Dark Lord, if you may, I'm here to explain it to you. Oh, and if it wasn't clear, this video will contain spoilers for Miitopia.
Even though I already played it, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Ending and characters, watch at your own discretion. Thank you.
So I'm ready for that spoiler. I don't even care for spoilers. Who gives a shit?
Let's start off by talking about who the Dark Lord is. Of course, in Miitopia, the Dark Lord is whoever you make him. For the first 3 worlds in the game, he's doing nothing but causing trouble and chaos for all who live in Miitopia. It's not until World 4, Carcaton, that you begin to learn more about this villain as you approach his castle. By this point in the game, the Dark Lord has stolen the faces of your very teammates.
Well, more than that, he just stole them in general. He kidnapped them.
Decides to take up arms with you to help you on your rescue mission. It's when you begin to travel with the sage that the nature of the Dark Lord finally starts to be questioned.
Yeah.
In such a case, your protagonist me asks, why does the Dark Lord steal faces? The
That
Great
is true.
Sage offers an explanation. The monsters that the Dark Lord creates are weak and without power. In order to give them the power to fight, he needs faces.
Really?
If you ask me, you could compare this to creating a lifeless body, but needing a soul to actually function. While
Okay,
this
that
theory holds up, it doesn't necessarily apply to all monsters. While
that's
traveling
true.
with the Great Sage, you encounter a small griffin, which is an enemy you faced countless times before. The sage tells you that because this creature has no face attached to it, it's completely harmless.
Yeah.
This specific scene could be foreshadowing to a much greater event later on, where your party faces off against a dragon.
Oh, that's
The
right,
dragon has
because
these eyes attached to it, making it hostile towards you. Only after defeating it and reclaiming the stolen eyes does it turn back to normal into a docile, friendly dragon.
yeah, that is
Just like
true.
that griffin you encountered earlier, it's completely harmless with no face attached
Yeah,
to it.
pretty much
Not
it's like
only does
a
the Dark Lord
corruption
create
kind of thing.
monsters for faces to be used on, he even takes regular creatures just minding their own business and
Yeah.
turns them into dangerous monsters with faces.
And again, I have seen this before. Again, I played the game. I can even prove it right now. Let me go prove it right now. Alright, here it is. This is the game. See? All thing. Behold, the 3DS version. Sorry it's not... Can't really move the camera a little bit. I'm not going to try to. But yeah, that is the Miitopia. Like, even cartridge right here. So I know exactly what's going on here. It's just that, you know, it's been a while, as you guessed, because this thing, like, how long this stinking thing on? Let me see the copyright. Freshman crap. Yeah, 2017. Dang, this thing is old. But still, it's not, like, very much thing. But I do remember this. I just never questioned this too much, because the ending kind of makes sense. But when you kind of do a dive through like this, it does not make... It does caught you off guard with
It's pretty
stuff.
messed up. I wonder if even your own horse could be turned against you if it had a face attached to it. That's an upsetting thought. While that gives us some insight into why the Dark Lord steals faces, it should be evident that doesn't really tell us the whole story at all.
Yeah,
In fact,
it
that may be
doesn't.
part of the reason why the Dark Lord steals faces, but not the entire motive. The
Mm-hmm.
real backstory that drives the Dark Lord's actions runs much deeper than just needing faces to power up a bunch of monsters.
Yeah.
When you and your party finally confront the Dark Lord and destroy him at his castle, the reality of the situation comes to light. The Dark
Mhm.
Lord wasn't actually the Dark Lord at all. He's just a normal guy wearing normal clothes, but who is this dude? Well, we're just gonna call him Factory Worker for right now, because that's what it used to be many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Surely we all love those delicious, helpful HP bananas we gobble up during battle, right? Well, wouldn't you know it, they have to come from somewhere. A certified HP banana factory.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's actually where it comes from for some fucking reason.
Our factory worker in question is very unhappy with his job and is questioning whether or not this is what he truly wants in life. Possibly at his wit's end, a voice suddenly whispers out to him. This voice promises him great power and wealth if he teams up with them. The factory worker is tempted, and in a moment of weakness, agrees to team up with the mysterious voice.
Yeah, that
He
voice
opens up
was
box
the
where
necklace.
whispers are coming from, and is immediately wrapped in darkness.
Uh-huh.
Before he knew it,
In a
he was
box.
possessed by a curse, and became the one and only Dark Lord.
Of course.
There's a key distinction behind this and stealing a face.
Oh wait, that's
In
not
this
necklace, I mean
situation,
spirit,
no face
because it
was
is a
stolen.
spirit.
Rather, the factory worker's body became possessed and used as a vessel. Because of this, all the factory worker can do is watch in horror as his body was used for the Dark Lord to wreak havoc on Miitopia. In a way, when your Miis defeat the Dark Lord, they were also rescuing his poor soul. But of course, the curse lives on, and after it loses its previous host, it goes right for your very own protagonist. But not before the Great Sage jumps in to save you, become the latest victim of the curse. And oh boy, the Great Sage is just about the worst body the curse could have taken. The Great Sage is powerful, wise, and highly respected across all of Miitopia. It's the sort of power and status that should never fall into the hands of evil.
That is true.
And yet it has. This gives birth to the Darker Lord and the second half of Miitopia's main story, where you take to the skies to explore the world and eventually unlock the Darker Lord's skyscraper hideout. The factory worker and ex-Dark Lord joins you on your quest to scale the tower, offering his insight and history with the curse. Before you head off to the other world to face against the Darker Lord once and for all, the factory worker gives you one final thanks for rescuing his soul from the curse. face
Yeah,
across
becomes a
Miitopia
god,
and
apparently.
ascend to his strongest form.
And I
The
just gotta
darkest
say,
god.
just a note, this is one of the most best looking boss models I ever seen in a video game. Like, I've seen a lot of good bosses, good looking bosses, but you're telling me a kid's game could look like that? A fucking sun, like, even the Neo King, like, there's also a darker version of this darker lore. I know, just play the game. FYI, spoilers. But even if it was that, it still is one of the best looking because it looks so like it's like trying to make Final Fantasy, but mix it with frickin' what do you call it? Well, mostly mix it. I guess mixed it with like something like like Scratch Panic. I guess that's the best way. I mean, then again, Scratch Panic is more gothic with its abstract. And if you guys don't know what Scratch Panic, just look it up. But still, it looks very abstract, but yet it looks like one of those guys. Like it reminds me a lot of like Sephiroth, and kind of reminds me a lot like an angel deity, like you see in like Ingon Valiant. Just not as fucked up because we all know why those things look fucked up because the angels are disturbing yet beautiful sorts of art. Just FYI, just look it up again. But still, again, one of the best looking
I love this
things.
joke. The power of the curse and the great sage combined are nearly too much for all of our heroes to handle. And it surely leaves you wondering at this point what this curse even is. Well, it's a long story, but that's what I'm here for. Long before the events of the game, the Dark Curse was actually just a normal me living in Miitopia. He blended right in with all the other residents of the world. He was just so average, normal, and mediocre. Well, nobody ever noticed him. He was such an average me that he felt lonely and left out from the rest of society. After a hard, long look in the mirror, he started blaming his very own face for this.
Yeah,
He
like
was
pretty
so
much
upset with
like
how it looked that he simply wished to get rid of it entirely. And so he did.
yeah.
But without a face, he couldn't live his life anymore, and slowly but surely faded out of existence.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why this whole game is much more darker than it looks. Because again, it's not actually that dark. I will say it's not that dark. But that topic in general is one of the most darkest I ever heard in a game. Other than, of course, Pokemon X and Y because it talks about death. Well, even other than that, because I know there's tons of better games with very dark topics. Like, go to freaking Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, FYI. Which I am probably not going to finish that playthrough because I haven't played it yet. Well, I did play it, it's just I haven't went and played that doll thing. Like I said, I'm skipping that part for you also because I need to study and do that thing. I don't want to keep doing that, but I don't know. But still, that is one of the more darker types. I mean, I guess the most darkest kids plot twist I think would be Canola, the first Canola game, and technically Canola in general, because it turns out you're FY spoilers. Turns out you don't actually exist, and you get ripped out of the fucking world and stuff. But this probably tops it around it because it actually tackles a serious issue, which unfortunately is still a serious issue, which is the fact that society won't accept people with very much differences at this point. Which is literally what Miitopia is trying to teach people, but because no one will accept differences and stuff, and it's just that sad. Except
Although
yourself,
his
that's all I
was
can
his
say.
soul, floating aimlessly, filled with envy and hate. His feelings grew and grew until his soul wasn't even himself anymore. It was a shell of who he was, instead overflowing with hatred and jealousy. He no longer had any desire to fit in. He desired to cause pain and suffering upon the world that ignored him. But without a face, he was powerless. So instead, he had to resort to possessing others. It's unknown how the Dark Curse ended up locked away in a box inside the HP Banana factory, but that's when it found its prey, the factory worker, and gave form to the Dark Lord of
Yeah, that is a good point.
This takes me right back around to the topic of why the Dark Lord steals faces. Yes, he needs them to give life and power to his monsters, but I think there's also something a bit more cruel and twisted about it when you consider his backstory. He's exacting revenge on the very world of people who neglected his face by taking their faces and turning them into monsters. If you ask hand, our heroes are finally ready to free the Great Sage and rid the world of this fate-stealing curse. When all is said and done, the Sage manages to capture the dark curse in a spell and gives the hero the choice of what they should do with it. Though the Sage seems to advise destroying it outright, you're also given the option to save it. This is where Miitopia's ending splits in two. Your first choice is to destroy the curse, which results in ending A. Using your divine power, the curse is broken and obliterated. The curse is gone for good, and all the fates that were stolen are returned to their rightful owners. I don't like this ending at all. Personally, I think it's mean. But not just that, you're actually locking yourself out of more story and content by choosing to break the curse. So
Yeah.
even if you think this is the right choice, you honestly just shouldn't pick it. Instead, you should pick ending B, which is to save the curse. The hero decides that the dark curse should be saved and revived as their original human self. You resurrect their me form and even give them back their face. Well, not quite. This is where things get a little dicey for me. I'm about to go on a tangent here, so excuse me for this.
Oh, okay.
Your task
I
is
go
the
on
job of
tangents all the
creating
time.
a face for the dark curse to wear on his original human body. That's all well and good, but it's the issue that you're making a brand new face for him that bothers me. The entire reason the dark curse became the dark curse to begin with is because he hated his original face and casted it off. Wouldn't a much better conclusion to this story be to give him back his original face? Miitopia is a game all about being yourself and how special your very own face is.
Yeah.
Teaching the dark
That guy
curse
is a
the
good
original
point.
face
Never
is
thought of
special
that,
as
but
it is. They never had to cast it off to begin with. Now, I understand that Miitopia is a game all about creating your own characters and roles, so I get there isn't a single role in this game that you don't get to cast and create yourself. It's only fitting for the game that you would get to make the dark curse new face yourself, but that doesn't stop it from sort of ruining the narrative for me. It may be silly, but I just think creating a new face defeats the purpose
I
of the
agree
dark
with that.
curse's
It's not
story.
silly because that
But,
actually
hey,
is a
that's
good
just me.
touche point.
Small gripe at the end of the day regardless. With the dark curse restored to his
That is a good
original
point.
self, he thanks you for all you've done for
But
him.
you know,
The Great Sage takes
this
him under his wing as an apprentice in
it's a
order
good
to
fair
redeem
point. I
himself
can't
from all
even
the
say
stuff that he
anything
brought
other
upon
than,
Miitopia.
you know,
All the faces that were stolen return to their rightful owners all the same too. As you can see, no matter which ending you pick, all the faces get returned no matter what. But in this one, you get to save a poor soul who suffered ages of hatred and jealousy himself. To me, this is a truly good ending for Miitopia. And well, that's it. That's the full lore behind the Dark Lord, the Darker Lord, and the Dark Curse. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about this silly me game, because I definitely still have more videos I want to make covering different topics related to Miitopia.
yeah, that's good.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and remember to love yourself and your face.
Yes,
Because
please
you
do.
are beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and add that, but my own jackass in this and there because I really don't want to put it into more meaner terms. But I do agree in a very more serious way because the worst part about that though is nowadays, even if you do say that, which I hate to say because it's just being factual, people will just say, nah, like for real, I watch too much Blasphemous HD to know that. Like, I love Blasphemous HD, we all know that, I actually subscribe to him. But my God, he's the perfect example of a jackass who doesn't understand how society should work. I mean, I'm not complaining him. I actually support him a little bit. He is a good guy. Just some of his advice are just, oh my gosh. Like, again, you guys saw my reaction to his story about him while he was little, busting into a person's house and blah, blah, blah. Which I would understand that. I would at least somewhat justify it, but I wouldn't justify it fully because, you know, go busting into people's houses. But the reason why I went in that direction is because, unfortunately, there are people who say that's not true. You actually do gotta look great in order to get da-da-da and do-do-do. And it's stupid to my fucking opinion, really, because it is. Like, who the hell cares? I mean, I've been saying this forever. For jokingly speaking. I mean, look at my new stuff, which, by the way, yeah, I have a second box because I gotta buy new headphones, blah, blah, but still, this is literally my area. This is, like, clears up right here. This is literally my area. This is literally my desk. My point is, I am a weirdo who try to do everything. I don't have proper equipment. The reason why I point this out is because, you know, I'm not very popular, but I do make content. I mean, what the hell? I mean, it's just sad because like, pretty much you guys remember, I even said this, like, beforehand, but I grew up literally being very much outcast, and I'm still kind of it. I am kind of an outcast. I don't care, but it feels bad to me because, well, I don't care being an outcast because, there are some positives with it a little bit. I won't say good positives, because really it's not possible to be an outcast. The unfortunate part about it is our society is fucking doomed because apparently nowadays everyone's going at each other for differences and it's just fucked up, really. But like, honestly, it's best to just love yourself and just don't give a fuck, really. Because if you do that, you will feel much better. Trust me. It's better to just be yourself and not care about, like, it's better to make, like, the better thing is just be yourself and be who you are, and also just help out other people who doesn't, just tell them that they are great. I do it all the time. I mean, I'm a living proof example because I always tell my friends, they're great, which they are, and they do the same thing to me, which, make me feel happy because that's how it works. You have to be honest with people on their positives. Everyone is different. You just gotta accept their differences. But unfortunately, the fortunate part is but still, great video. And I'm actually gonna say, like I said, I got the game. I never looked into that Dark Lord that very deep because pretty much you don't even need to look deep after you find out that plot twist because again, that's a dark plot twist, but you can understand that completely. But it is a good plot twist because it helps. And again, that video was well done. Again, and you also see why I say they, because I don't know if it's a female or male, but P.S. if the creator of that video walking, I'm sorry, I'm calling you they. You can explain it in the comment section, blah, blah. But still, a good video, by the way. Love your content. I always subscribe and bell it because it really is good. I might watch all your other videos as well. I keep finding good people who starting out on YouTube that's really great. Like, yes, a month ago, I found a good guy who could be the next Blame It on George, since Blame It on George is now moving away from lost media and doing like, he's still doing it, but he's doing documentaries now, which are good, and I still love his documentary, but he's not like the top 10 lists, and I found him, and he was awesome. But either way, it's still great. I love it. Again, the video down in the description below. And like I said, I might get the game and also do a playthrough for you guys because I actually admit, I love Miitopia. Miitopia was badass, actually, because you can create your stuff. But again, this has been Flosscat, snapping out of here. Bye.